This is After the Gridiron, a podcast featuring interviews with retired football players. If you're a fan of After the Gridiron, make sure you subscribe to the show to ensure that you won't miss an episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Symphonies. Symphonies is an online store that provides custom clothing and accessories. They have a number of quality products available at affordable prices. They offer custom, unique, funny, and inspirational products that you won't find anywhere else. So go to www.symphonies.ca to shop for your next purchase. And as a special offer for our listeners, enter promo code GRIDIRON to get 15% off your purchase. So there's no excuse not to check it out. Again, that's www.symphonies.ca. Symphonies. Great products, great prices. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Lyle Green, and today we have as our guest one of the best receivers to ever play in the CFL, Ben Cahoon. Ben played 13 years, all with the Montreal Alouettes. He was a first-round pick in the 1998 draft. He was a sixth overall pick in that draft. He went to BYU University. Even though he grew up in the States, he has some Canadian connections, so he was able to get drafted and was drafted by Montreal in the 98 draft. He was most outstanding Canadian in the 2002 and 2003 seasons. Grey Cup champion in 2002, 2009, and 2010, so three-time Grey Cup champion. He's also coached at his alma mater a couple times, two stints of 2 years at BYU, and he is 2014 Hall of Fame class of the CFL, so one of the outstanding Canadians, one of the outstanding players in the CFL, and now he's working with G2G, which is Good to Go protein bars, which have just launched up here in Canada, and you can check those out at g2g.com. So, Ben, thank you so much for coming on the show, and appreciate having you today.
Hey, my pleasure, Lyle. I'm excited to talk to you, and appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Looking forward to it. All right, so I usually start off the show by asking the guests to say something about them that most people wouldn't know about them. So, what would you say for that?
Well, I am Canadian. I will say that.
There you go.
I have kind of the best of both worlds. I was born in Utah, but spent my first 8 years in Canada. My parents both born and raised in southern Alberta, 4 generations back. Southern Albertans for the Cahoon family. Okay. My grandfather was in the Canadian Navy. So when people say I snuck in, as a non-importer, as a Canadian, it kind of bothers me, and it definitely bothers all my relatives that are still living in Alberta. So
still living there, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
but we moved to the States when I was 8 years old, and I did go and attend high school and college in the States, but so I was fortunate enough to be counted as a non-import, and that definitely helped my career early on. But I think a lot of people thought that I was some American that beat the system somehow and qualified as an American or qualified as a Canadian.
Canadian.
Anyway, I'll say that. I'll get that. I'll clear the air right there. I feel better now.
There you go. That's good. Yeah, yeah. Some people might consider you American, but you're definitely true and true Canadian. And even with that status, you didn't really need it the way you played. You're an amazing player, and you'd have qualified. You were an outstanding player here, whatever your citizenship was. So, that's
well, it did. Thank you for that, but it did definitely helped me my first few years when there were hard decisions being made whether or not a little guy like me could make a team, and before I really was able to prove myself. So
to stand out, yeah. All right, so let's get going into how you got started in football. I know people start at different ages. When did you start football?
I didn't start playing football until I was in high school, grade 10. was my first
Okay.
year of organized football. Before that, I was just playing basketball and a lot of soccer. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of late to the game, but I think that helped a little bit, just kind of develop overall athleticism, playing other sports. And I was definitely a guy that took a little while at every level, high school, junior college, and then at Montreal. It took a while for me to, earn the trust and prove that I could get the job done, just because of my size and speed, and probably more than anything. But once coaches, saw something in this little guy, then it worked out okay at each of those levels.
Nice. And was football kind of always your favorite sport, or did you kind of just end up playing football because it's your best sport? Because I know you mentioned you playing other sports growing up. Was that your favorite sport or no?
No, it wasn't. And it wasn't. It was the sport that I followed the money a little bit. It was a chance to get some schooling paid for, just even partially paid for. So I went and walked on and earned a little scholarship at junior college, and then did the same at BYU. But I loved playing basketball the best, and was probably the best as a youngster. Was probably best as a soccer player, but just kind of gravitated towards football because there was a little recruiting activity going on, and then it just ended up walking on.
Okay. Also, you started at a JUCO before you went to BYU?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Went to Ricks College in Idaho, and then had a decent career there, and walked on again at BYU.
Okay, and why did you choose BYU, or how did you end up going to BYU after the JUCO? Did they recruit you at all, or?
No, I recruited them a little bit. They were not recruiting. I grew up, when my family moved to Utah when I was 8 years old. I kind of grew up in the backyard of BYU, so watched BYU my whole life, and loved the Cougars. But there was a lot that went into it. I felt like I could play at BYU. It was a place with the offense that they ran and the personnel they used that I felt like a guy like me could actually get on the field. So I took a risk and turned down some other smaller scholarship opportunities at smaller universities, and went and walked on.
Walked on there, yeah. I remember, growing up, BYU always had the kind of the pass-happy offense, so as a receiver, that'd definitely be a great place for you. Who was quarterbacking the team when you were playing there?
When I went there, Steve Sarkisian was our quarterback my junior year, and and we had a great season. 14-1 was our record, and ended 5th in the country. And then Sarkisian graduated, and my senior year was kind of a guy named Kevin Federick that had some time in the CFL, and Paul Shoemaker. Those guys kind of split time at quarterback, but Federick's dad bought the Stampeders for a while, and that was fun.
All right, so you had a good career there at BYU, and did well, and obviously did well enough to warrant a high draft pick with Montreal. Is there any NFL opportunities before you came up here to Montreal, or is it strictly a move up to the CFL?
I did go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers mini camp, so it was a wonderful 2.5 days.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they got a full evaluation of you those 2 days you were there.
Yeah, well, crazy stuff. I mean, there were. So I got released, obviously, and there were times at Montreal training camp that guys from the Buccaneers that were on that team came up to try out for the Alouettes that didn't make it. So
it did make, yeah,
even receivers. So it's a funny business.
It definitely is. Yeah. It's not always the best talent makes it down there. It's kind of a lot goes into making it, but yeah. So you came up here to Montreal, and talk about your time up here in Montreal. Obviously, you had some amazing seasons, winning 3 Grey Cups and 2 most outstanding Canadian awards. But you did mention you had kind of a slow start in Montreal. So kind of talk about how things went there.
Yeah, it took a while. I was not starting. I was traveling, but not starting. I think for the first 6 games of my rookie season, playing a little special teams,
Okay.
which is a stretch. Which even I'm surprised that I was on the field as a special teams guy. But I think it was Game 6. We were playing in Edmonton in 1998, and one of the receivers playing ahead of me got injured, and I had gone golfing 18 holes earlier that day because I knew I wasn't going to play. My uncles were in town, and my dad came up, and I'm like, I'm going to get like 4 plays on special teams. I can go golfing. So I golfed 18 holes thinking I wasn't going to play, and then ended up playing about 3/4 of that game and getting a couple catches. And then from then on, I started the rest of that year. And just kind of slowly, gradually gained the trust of Tracy Ham, who was a quarterback there at that time. And then Calvillo and I were working together, kind of doing scout team stuff, during practices and developing a little chemistry in the background. So that was the start of it. And then it was just kind of the little engine that could, lots of grinding it out and developing some trusts and with coaches and Anthony.
And Anthony, you mentioned spending time with Anthony and practicing and probably after practice. Can you talk about the chemistry you guys had? Because you obviously had the great chemistry that developed and went on to make some great numbers down the years later on. So can you talk about your chemistry with Anthony and how that kind of developed?
Sure. I mean, a lot of it's just luck, great timing and luck. I was not playing slot receiver initially. The first few years I was playing outside. They call it the Z receiver way, the furthest guy away from the quarterback. And Anthony has strong enough arm that he incorporated the Z receiver more. He got the ball out there more often than most quarterbacks did at the time. So that's how I really got a chance to show that I could make plays, is Anthony was just throwing the ball out there. A lot of times that guy just goes and runs and runs just, for conditioning more than being a big part of the offense. But Anthony got me involved and, gave coaches a chance to see what I could do. And then when Don Matthews was hired, can't remember the year, 2000 maybe, he said he wanted to move me and give me a tryout, or at least see how I would do in the slot. And I was nervous. He told me that, right? He was hired like Grey Cup week. I had the whole off season to think about it and get nervous about it. He said, I'm going to move you to the slot. If it doesn't work out, no big deal, no harm, no foul. We'll put you back at Z. But I think even...
Why were you nervous? What made you nervous about it?
Well, I had just during practices, I'd played some slot, and on scout team, and I hadn't had much success there. I'd get just pinballed around and beat up, and they were big old linebackers with long arms, and it was just much more physical in there. So I was just questioning whether or not I would be successful there. But you know what? It was the best thing by far that could have happened in my career. And I thank Don Matthews for that. He knew that I caught the ball well, and he just wanted to get me closer to the ball, so there were more opportunities. And that's definitely what happened.
Yeah, for sure. Like especially in the CFL with the field so as wide it is, that, like you said, that Z receiver is kind of the lost and forgotten person way out there, and not too many opportunities to get the ball. They're kind of just, like you said, just conditioning, just kind of doing a little jog up and down the field, and every once in a while they might get a bone, but usually there's nothing much going on out there. But moving to the slot is definitely a huge advantage for you, and he proved the coaches and Anthony Wright in having you move to the slot, because you're just a dominant player in there, and it was pretty much unstoppable. You could do inside outside moves. There's so many options for you to get the ball, and you're such great hands that you had. It's a tough spot for it to defend you, to stop you when you're in there. So it was definitely a great move for you and for your career for sure.
Yeah, I can thank Don Matthews for that for sure. And then I was just fortunate to have a guy like Anthony to play with for so many years, and a ton. I mean, a lot of fantastic receivers that were, kind of a surrounding cast that helped in a ton of ways to draw traffic away from me, but actually help with little rubs and picks and decoys, and great coaches who figured out ways to, help get me open. And so it was just great timing for me, a lot of luck, and great quarterback more than anything.
Yeah, having a guy like Anthony definitely helps out when you have one of the all-time best quarterbacks, and who's so accurate and has that strong arm, as you mentioned, to be able to get that ball into those tight windows for you in the slots. So yeah, it's definitely a great position for you, and a great spot for you to be in.
Yeah, it was great years.
Yeah,
it's fun to look back on them.
Oh yeah, so talk about some of those great cups. You won 3, and you guys were in the Grey Cup, seemed like every year in the 2000s. So talk about some of those Grey Cup memories and some of the great games that you guys had there.
Oh man, there was much more heartache than there was celebration, and
that's true. Yeah.
Those championships were elusive for us for whatever reason. So it just helps you cherish the 3 rings that we have and the memories there. But came close several times, and frankly, I feel lucky to have 3 rings, but we could have 4 or 5 or 6.
Yeah. Sorry, we took one from you in 06. Apologize for that one.
Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there were a few that. It's a crazy game. You love it, and strange things happen in Grey Cups, but you got to play 60 minutes, and not the best team doesn't always win, but the best team on that particular day usually does. So, we won 1 or 2 that there are not many people think that we deserved it, but we got it, and we'll take it. So.
We'll take it. Yeah. There's that 13th man one. I think that was 2009. People talk about that one, but it doesn't matter how you win or the circumstances, but as long as you get that W at the end of the game. Yeah,
we'll take it, and that's
we'll take it. Yeah,
I still just shake my head when I think of that game. But we did not lead in that game ever in 60 minutes. First time we took the lead was after the time had expired. I mean, that's
that's crazy.
The backstory of that is we had a team that was fighting and clawing and believed in themselves, and a pretty magical halftime demonstration of leadership by Anwar Stewart particularly, but our defense, and good things happen when you stick together and keep grinding and believe in each other. We couldn't do anything on offense the first half, and we come in at halftime, and Anwar Stewart is positive, and Saskatchewan's getting the ball back off the second half kickoff, and Anwar said, "Hey, we're going to stop them. We're going to get the ball back for you right now. You're going to score. You're going to go score." And they went out and did that. So.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, those types of things, kind of the behind the scenes drama that was going on that doesn't always get documented on TV, but that was obviously, to win a championship is a magical moment, but there are some real life lessons that I appreciate, and lessons and examples in leadership too, from definitely Anwar on that one.
Guys, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's the little things in the leadership of some of the players on the team and coaches, obviously, that makes the difference. And just saying the right words at the right time. Like you said, at halftime, and he just said, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it. And he executed on that, and that kind of pumps up all everyone else on the team and realize, hey, he's serious, and he did what he said he was going to do, and that kind of rejuvenates all the other players and gets them to feel more confidence, and it turned out to help you guys to come with a victory. So, like you said, those are the things that aren't really documented, but makes all the difference in winning and losing in the big games like that.
Yeah, it's such a great team game, and to have a buddy and a brother stand up and say, "Hey, chill out, guys. Don't stress. I got your back. I'm going to take care of you."
Yeah,
those types of things maybe allow a quarterback to calm down or take some pressure off a receiver, and just realize, yeah, it's not all on me. I can relax and play ball because I got my brothers next to me,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I mean, so much of those big games come down to nerves and just being able to block out distractions and do your thing in the big moment. And a lot of your teammates have a lot to do with helping you do that. And that was definitely on display that day.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. All right. So let's talk about kind of near the end of your career and talking about your transition into what you're doing now. So you spent some time coaching at BYU. How did you decide on doing that? Did that just an opportunity that came up, or is it something that you were thinking of doing? How did coaching end up on your plate at BYU?
Oh, well, I had thought about it over the years. Just felt like there was reason in my life that I was able to play football for so long. I'd learned a few things, and I'd like to pass them on. So, right after I retired, the timing was great. I was retiring in December or January 2010 to 11, and a position opened up at BYU, which was my alma mater, and 20 minutes from my house. So
nice.
I was fortunate to get that job. That lasted 2 years, and then the offensive coordinator was let go, and so was the rest of the staff. And decided not to get back into coaching after those 2 years, and just got a local job as a medical device rep, which was fascinating. I was in the operating room with orthopedic surgeons all day long. It was amazing. That lasted about 2.5 years, and then another head coach was hired at BYU, and I got rehired, and that lasted another 2 years. So I've been 4 years at BYU as a wide receiver coach. Then that offensive coordinator was also let go, and so was I. So decided to get back in the private sector and got started with Good to Go G2G protein bars, which is a phenomenal company, just a local Utah company. But when they were looking to hire, they said they were going to launch into Canada, and I could take over Canada for them. And I was all over that. That sealed the deal for me. I was like, if I can take Canada, have an excuse to come visit my people up here and promote this awesome product in Canada, then that's what I want to do. So I'm actually in Vancouver right now. I was at a big food show, and so excited about this opportunity. It's a great product. Four NFL teams, a couple NBA teams, and about 35 D1 college athletic programs give these to their athletes, and it's legit.
Okay.
It's an awesome product, and I'm excited to grow it, help it grow in Canada.
Nice. So so talk about it. So it's a protein bar. Do they have? Is it like a powder, or is there like a powdered version of it as well, or how's it work? How's the product?
No, it's just a protein bar, but the difference is, well, first of all, they taste amazing. That's the biggest differentiator. But it's a fresh, refrigerated protein bar. So we fresh grind the peanuts or the almonds every day, and then there are no preservatives or no added sugars, no fillers, no junk. So we keep them in the fridge so they maintain their freshness. So it's a protein bar with a shelf life, if you can imagine. That's just such a mind-blowing concept right there. But we make them, and then they're good for 8 months when you keep them refrigerated. But they're also good for a month out of the fridge, so nothing spoils. So they're great for hiking and camping and fishing and so forth, golfing.
Those type of thing.
But yeah, but it's an awesome product. There's not a lot of refrigerated protein bars in Canada yet, so we're first to market for the most part. 18 grams of whey protein isolate, which is real food ingredients, no junk, and
nice.
And they taste amazing. So it's gonna kill it in Canada. We just got to get the word out, and that's what I'm working on.
Nice. So have you found retailers that are going to supply it, or are you still working on that end of things?
Still very early. We just launched in Canada the last 2 or 3 months, but we're in about, I would say, 80 retail locations. I think there were about 60 Jugo Juices in the Calgary area have them.
Okay.
A buddy from Edmonton just emailed or texted me a picture of the bars up in West Edmonton Mall, I think. So, and we got about, I would say, about 80 or 100 different store orders at this show in Vancouver yesterday. So we're growing.
Okay, nice.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah,
it's going to be awesome, and I'm certainly excited. But little baby steps. It's a funny industry, but
how so? What makes it is like a
protein
like difficult?
Okay. Yeah, it's the grocery industry is just it's just quirky, I guess, and protein bars it's competitive as all get out, and there are a lot of good products out there, but so it's just a learning curve for me as I'm trying to navigate a new industry and a competitive protein bar category. It's fun. It's go time, and every day is game day, and the thrill of the victory of sales the thrill of a sale is just addicting to me. So.
Oh yeah. It's the competitive side of you that's gets a chance to be competitive again and just have a different outlet for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's certainly fun, and it's a product I completely believe in. I've been real familiar with it for over 8 years, and helped get the athletes at BYU using this, and BYU's been buying these for 6.5 years for their athletes, and every athlete, well, male and female, different sports at BYU are loving it. So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing those available out here in BC. You said you got a few orders from this weekend, so hopefully we'll see it in stores and have it available out here and on the West Coast.
Yeah, just text me. I'll hook you up, man.
All right, appreciate it. I love that stuff. So yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. So let's finish off. I usually finish off with what I call the top of the mountain moment. So kind of looking back on your football journey and your career and the things that you've gone through to get to where you were at with your football. Do you have a favorite story, a favorite memory, or words of wisdom for younger players? How do you want to end things off here on top of the mountain moment?
Oh, well, it was a fantastic career with a ton of ups and downs for me. My recommendation is just do your best every day, and good things happen. Yeah. I certainly wasn't the most flashy or athletic guy out there, but hard work and just consistency won the day for me, and that over a period of time enabled me to have a long, great, memorable, magical career. So it's often these days just hard work, consistency, effort, and doing your best seem like these crazy novel concepts, but that's what life's all about. And more times than not, if you just do that, whether it's in work or relationships, your family, give your best effort. Good things are going to happen, and even greatness will happen for you. So I don't know, that kind of sums up my career. Just a kid who was a little gritty and had a lot of luck and good timing, great friends and teammates, but we just came to work each day and tried his best because I just love to compete. But I think there's a lesson there. Somebody that's more eloquent than I am could probably expound on that, but that's what I think.
Well.
I think my career is about.
Yeah, that's exactly. You said it well. There's no substitute for hard work, and if you put in the work and put the effort in and use the talents that you have, obviously that's the groundwork. If you do that, like you said, good things and even great things can happen. So, yeah, just work hard, put in the effort, and wait for the results, because they'll come if you put in the effort for it. So,
yeah, I mean, that's a great thing about football. It gives you a chance to do that. It's so many people these days are just looking for the quick money or the quick fix, or they're impatient with the process. But over time, consistency is more important than greatness, or it definitely builds greatness.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Ben. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it and appreciate your time. And it's been a pleasure talking to you about your career and what you're doing now. And again, for our listeners, if you want some great protein bars, make sure you check out his website, g2g.com. You get all the information on the great products that they have, the Good to Go protein bars, and get all that information. And it's available coming up in Canada pretty soon. Some places already, so look out for those in your stores, in the store near you.
Perfect. They're legit.
Yeah.
Thanks,
they're legit. Exactly. All right, Ben, thanks so much. And we'll talk soon.
Okay. Really appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Take care.
Thank you for listening to After the Gridiron. If you're a fan of the show, please make sure you subscribe to the show and also leave a rating and review. By doing that, you also help spread the word about the podcast and assist others in finding the show, so more people can enjoy this great content. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, with the links to those being found on the website. Your support is very much appreciated. Also, please visit the resources page on the website for links to our sponsors and affiliates. Your support helps to keep the show running. So go to www.atgridiron.com/resources to check them out. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you when we kick off our next episode.